sitting here in a 1956 Pontiac. Nice daily driver. Certainly isn't a trailer queen. Certainly ain't going to win any shows. But, we've done a fair bit of work on it. We're just doing a good road test on it before it goes back to the customer. You know, you drive an old car like this and you realize what a privilege it is, but also just how far automotive technology has come and all the things we take for granted. So if you watch those old 1950s movies and you got track facing backwards in the background the whole way, and you got dad there sawing on the steering wheel back and forth and back and forth, and how ridiculous and fake that looks today. But when you're sitting in these old cars, and we've just been through the front suspension on this thing, everything's tight, everything's in good shape, ball joints are good, tire run ends are good. Just is how it is. There's you know, bump steer hadn't even been, the notion of bump steer hadn't even been thought about even in Formula One. So you've got just old technology, parts move around, intersecting angles, trigonometry, geometry isn't right, and we end up with a car that really, it does go straight down the road, but you have to anticipate its wander. Kind of cool. So those old 50s movies where you got the guy sawing on the wheel back and forth, that's actually pretty realistic. Another thing you notice is these cars don't want to go that fast. Like if you stand on them, they'll go. Motors made tons of torque. You know, these old engines, they weren't known for their horsepower, but when you get on them, they make torque. And that's what they were made to do. They had small ports, you know, inefficient combustion chambers. And for their time, they worked really good. They burned the fuel that they had, and you know, that's what they were made to do. Obviously, you look at the exhaust systems on them; they're awful. But you know, again, they weren't made to go 90 miles an hour. This car is happy going 40 miles an hour. They were climbing a really steep grade, and it doesn't want to downshift. It just holds it. You know, holds it the whole ride up. Great big old steering wheel on them. You do have, this car does have power steering, but it's more like a power assist, and feeling that little resistance as you go is actually somewhat satisfying. So again, you jump in, you know, a brand new Civic today, and you've got, you know, the tight, you've got you know, BMW tight suspension, and I think corners and stops. You know, it's not how it was back then. This car starts phenomenally well, but you smell a little bit of oil vapor as you go down the road. You know, again, 2-speed transmission. You know, it gives me a lot of respect for the old stock car drivers back in the 50s and 60s, driving these land yachts on the edge of control at, you know, 170 miles an hour. It's just ridiculous. You talk about brakes, 4-wheel disc brakes. You get on them, you're going to start locking wheels up. They're really kind of grabby. There's no happy medium. You're trying to modulate or find that sweet spot. They're either kind of an on or off, so you find yourself having to pulse them. You know, the car rattles a little bit, and there's something rattling around in the dash, and that's how these cars were. But you know, they were certainly cool. They were cutting edge. This represents an era when automotive technology wasn't that old. You know, this car is nearly 70 years old. Think about when this car was built, automotive technology was 50 years old. So, really, quite an honor to get to work on these old girls and keep them going. And pretty neat to get to drive one of these occasionally. So, yeah, that's my my take on a 1956 Pontiac with a 316.